Well, this is my tribute to Jonathan Goldsmith. And who is Jonathan Goldsmith? His name is Jonathan Goldsmith. He is an actor. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Born September 28, 1938. He began his career on the New York stage and started a career in film and television. Many television shows from the 60s to the 90s. But he's best known for appearing in the Dos Equis beer commercial as the most interesting man in the world. It was a sad day in March of 2016. A man who I vicariously lived through for a decade announced his retirement, his quote-unquote retirement from the role, with a commercial sending him on a one-way journey to Mars amid a big party and acclamation. And the narration, of course, was his only regret is that he not knowing what regret feels like. Generation Y. That's we can thank them again. They strike again, out with the old, in with the new. So Goldsmith, he first established himself as an actor in Western films. He was in the '76 film The Shootist, and he played a villain who was shot square between the eyes by Mr. John Wayne. He appeared in 45 television series. That row right there knows what I'm talking about here. How about Gunsmoke, Adam 12, Chips, Y50, Barnaby Jones, MacGyver, Murdy, Charlie's Angels, Dynasty, T.J. Hooker, Magnum P.I., you remember those? The A-Team. But his longest run was in the series Dallas. For 17 times he appeared. But it is outside of film and television where he does his best work. He has been an advocate for landmine victim support. He has assisted the Morris Animal Foundation in their efforts to prevent and cure cancer in dogs, something dear in my heart. He also supported the Sabre Foundation, whose mission is to protect and preserve the Siberian tiger. Other charitable causes is Free Arts for Abused Children, which pairs artists with children protective custody. And the biggest one he's involved in was the Stella Link Foundation. It's a group calls attention to and solution to child sex trafficking in Cambodia. Well, he landed his Dos Equis gig by auditioning for the role. The auditioners were given the ending line, and that's how I arm wrestled Fidel Castro, and asked to improvise. Well, Goldsmith began his audition by removing one sock and then improvised for 30 minutes before finally reaching that line. So after that, he was featured as a bearded, debonair gentleman roughly in his 70s. He's also featured in a montage, mostly black and white, of daring exploits involving the most interesting man when he was younger. The settings are never revealed, and we'll never find out, but he performs feats such as freeing an angry bear from a painful-looking bear trap, shooting a pool trick shot before an audience by shooting the cue ball out of the mouth of a man lying on the pool table, winning an arm wrestling match in South American setting, surfing a killer wave, and bench pressing two young women, each seated in a chair, just as our own Phil Higley has done many times. The voiceovers themselves are intended to be both funny and outrageous, with humorous undertones such as giving his own father the talk, experiencing an awkward moment just to know how it felt, and finding the fountain of youth but not drinking from it because he wasn't thirsty. Okay, other feats and centered on physical abilities and personality. These include parallel parking a train and slamming a revolving door. Oh, and it doesn't end there. Okay, he once a rattlesnake bit him, a rattlesnake. After 5 days of excruciating pain, the snake finally died. If he were to punch you in the face, you would have to fight off a strong urge to thank him. He can speak Russian and French, and Superman has his pajamas with his logo. He once brought a knife to a fight just to even the odds. If he were to visit the dark side of the moon, it wouldn't be dark. He once won a staring contest with his own reflection. He once got pulled over speeding, and the cop got the ticket. Sharks have dedicated a week to him. He once made a weeping willow laugh, and his business card simply says, "I'll call you." In museums, he's allowed to touch the art, and roses stop to smell him. And he once turned a vampire into a vegetarian. Very true. He never wears a watch because time is always on his side, and if opportunity knocks, he's not home, opportunity waits. When he was young, he sent his parents to his room, and that once while sailing around the world, he discovered a shortcut, and once he ran a marathon because it was on the way, and presidents take his birthday off. He has never walked into a spider web. His organ donation card also lists his beard, and if he was to pat you on the back, you would list it on your resume. At the end of each advertisement, the most interesting man, usually shown sitting in a nightclub or other social setting, always says, "I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis." But it's the ending I'll never forget. It's always stay thirsty, my friends. Farewell, Jonathan Goldsmith, and vaya con Dios.